Hopefully everyone's doing well today. I'm a little bit of a nervous speaker, but I'm here and grateful that all of you are here. This is something that needs to happen. This is a tragedy in our nation. With something as foundational to a decent society as family is, and necessary, you know, it's a mess, and I mean it's vital that we get it straightened out as soon as possible, for the kids' sake and for the parents' sake and for the sake of everyone's well-being. And it would be nice if Pennsylvania could lead the way in that. I was born and raised in Pennsylvania. I'm from the State College region. I went to high school and then I went to Penn State, got a degree in geography there. My parents were divorced when I was 5 years old, and it was a very difficult experience. Something I never wanted to see anyone go through. They didn't give my dad much option. He had to work, and we were with him every other weekend. And so we lived with my mother in State College, about 2 hours away. He lived down in the Harrisburg area. And he would come get us every other weekend, and we'd spend time with our dad, 2 siblings and I. And it was hard. Watched my mom, try to raise us. She did the best she could. She did good. But it was the most, I didn't realize until I became a parent and went through a lot of the same things, how difficult it is by yourself like that. And went through a lot, and it was amazing to graduate college and have a degree. And you'd look back and be like, wow, I made it somewhere, with all this, and not to mention so many other things you go through. But then I really appreciated family. My whole life, I could see the value in it. I could see how certain forces were pulling them apart as a general thing in society, and and nobody ever seemed to think about what it would do to the kids as much. You didn't see that side of anything. And then I decided to have a family of my own. I was probably 33 years old, and a lot of the relationships I was in those times, not everyone wanted to have children, so you figured those things out, and then you meet somebody that does, and you agree to that, and you get married and start your life in that field of beginning a family. And it was an amazing thing, and then we had children. They ended up being twins, and both boys. And sometimes with twins there's complications. They were born really early, a little over 2 pounds, and should be life-flight, to the Hershey Med Center, which they're really good there. I would recommend that to anyone, and in the NICU. And somehow these little miracles survived. And it was amazing, but it was like 88 days in the NICU every day. There was a house there for us, a Ronald McDonald House, I think it was called, that just, I couldn't think. Her nor I could. We were so run down from the trauma of it. It was like every minute, every day there was some emergency surgery or blood transfusions, and it just went on for months. And I was mush, I think we both were. And I was able to do my job because I worked in Harrisburg, and not full function, but I did what I could at those times, and everyone was very understanding, and I was really pleased that we had those kind of people around, It's always been a blessing, is the people around still. And that traumatized us as parents, and I was able to hold it together pretty good. Then COVID hit right after that. After the babies were home, COVID hit, and I was working from home all the time. It was good because I was able to help the kids, and we're starting to kind of recover a bit. And it's really tough for anyone after going through something like that. And the complications after a mother has a child. There's it's throws them off sometimes for a year, or more. I mean, it's and I knew that, and I was doing the best I could to help her in every way. Just keep loving and helping with the kids and giving counsel, doing everything you can. And one day, it's almost as if something in the outside smelled blood, like a wounded lamb being my family. A court, somehow somebody got a hold. And I noticed a big change in her. She was starting to, like somebody was putting input in, and it started causing division. And I'm thinking, this isn't good right now. We're still very vulnerable and fragile. We've got these babies. And it was almost ruthless. Something took her and divided my family and stripped me of everything. And even my children, within just a few months. I didn't know. I came home from work one day, and they were gone, and there was a PFA against me. And I'm like, how could, that's not real. Well, yeah, they'll enforce it if you think it, I thought it was some type of joke, and it wasn't. I wasn't allowed to be around my wife or kids, and that had gone on for 6 months all of a sudden, and it just crushed me. My bank account was empty. It crushed me, and nobody knew what to do to help. It was like my soul was ripped into pieces, and I was bled out dry. I had nothing left. And I did what I could to work, and I didn't even know where to go to begin to try to get my kids back. I couldn't even talk to my wife. I wasn't allowed to. And she looked fearful when we would see each other, or talk. We couldn't talk. They wouldn't let us talk. Somebody had done something severe, I knew, and some type of, however they do it. And it ended up being the system dividing us and conquering, essentially, and capitalizing on it. And I was so mushed out, my mind did not work right. I was in such deep, like a pit of hell. And she was in such fear. And the lawyers would kind of make fun of it. They would kind of play us like a game against each other. And this continued for a long time. And I started going to, eventually, a little bit of mercy was put forth. And the lawyers were able to, I just slowly started working through a system. I was blind because I could not process or think. But I started seeing my children and they started seeing me for about a half hour every 2 weeks at the start. There was a resource center. Around that time, I got a hold of Jeff, and he works in family resources for fathers, and families. But that was the start of being able to rebuild a little bit and get back in relationship with my children. And also, I could think about the whole time too was, I wonder what it felt like to them if it was that hard on me. I wonder what that does to them. They can't even tell you. They can't tell anybody. They don't know how to express it. And I mean, for me, it felt like I was being drowned with a straw I had to breathe with for a long time. And I just could never understand why human beings would do that to somebody. Why would you do that to somebody? I just could never understand it. I could never understand why you would let that kind of stuff happen. I thought the courts were to stand up for families and help children. And this was all blindsiding to me. It was the complete opposite. They totally took everything and would never let me get back up, and I had nobody to help me. And there were some good people placed around it. I happened to fall into that they could help, and a little more and more, every after like a few months of seeing the kids a half hour every 2 weeks, we'd see each other maybe an hour, and then it was 2 hours after about 4 months, and then and eventually I got them with my mother would come with and help, and I'd have to have a supervise visits, and I could take them with us and for a few hours on Friday or Saturdays, and then it was eventually after about a year's worth of time I got worked up to every other weekend, and I tried to get more than that, but I went and they started charging me outrageous amounts from the lawyers, and I can't do anything. That's the standard. So it was almost like they knew that was what it was going to be, And when the lawyers wouldn't let me and my wife at the time back in the rooms with them when they had the discussion with the judges, I knew something was up. They were talking back there and they were playing with us like it was some game. But in the meantime, we were going through awful trauma and turmoil that you never forget. It scars you forever. And it's really hard to get over. And I've met since then a lot of women and men that have been through this, and it's divide and conquer. They find that it seems like they don't really care who it is. Whatever they can capitalize off of, they don't care, and they just throw you to trash like you're nothing. And then all kinds of services have to capitalize on the damage that our own systems cause. It's just so backwards. And why are we doing things that way in this nation? It's so wrong. We should be building each other up and encouraging each other, and there's enough problems. Nobody needs to make more problems or allow extra problems to capitalize on. It doesn't need to function that way at all. And greed can definitely turn things the wrong way, and so many agencies and folks, and there can be corruption, and it can grow, and I think it's grown into a monster that's got so much force that it's really hard to even oppose in any way. But everybody being here is a huge start to it, and I'm grateful that there's others that care about this issue and are passionate about it and sacrifice your time and lives for it. That's a wonderful thing, and that's the shot we got at trying to make a better future for the children and parents. I think the parents are just as important. Anything that's taken from the parent is taken from the kid. Every bit of extra effort and focus that the parent has to do, complications, whatever, is taken from the focus that they could have and relating to their children. And the children need the parents, and the parents have so many distractions that they're forced to deal with. I mean, I think it's most important that the parents and the kids are allowed to have their relationships and build their relationships, and it's very natural. Animals know how to take care of their young, and as do humans. We all have it. So it doesn't need to be overcomplicated. It's just they need to be given time and grace and opportunity for growth, just like the children do. And I'll tell you, once a relationship's damaged like that, it's like I'm afraid sometimes to get close to my kids because I got stabbed so many times I can't. It's taken me years now to recover that I can actually be in the moments with them and stay focused with them and really enjoy the time with them. They're 4.5 years old now, and they need me, and it's been so hard to overcome that to where I can, we can have our time together and enjoy it. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for listening to me.